Saudi Arabia buys up EVO, a bright new era, or another corporate catastrophe? Dash recommended this topic, so I'll let him drive the car.
So, as you know, EVO has been
acquired, I think is the word you're looking for.
Is main. They've been like the big pusher, and a lot of games have changed like their standards and rules in order to be allowed in EVO. Like so, like as far as like women covering up and stuff. And so, progressive streamer Pokimane, who apparently co-owned EVO, has just sold it to Saudi Arabia.
Well done. Well done. I love it when women sell companies to countries who cover up their women, which I think is a very good thing.
Now, one of the biggest,
she's not allowed to drive the car over there.
Exactly.
One of the biggest EVO players is a non-binary gay furry, and Sonic Fox.
That is going to work so well. Talk about oil and water, ladies and gentlemen.
Can you fly, Bobby?
Pun. He was just gay. Like now apparently he's non-binary now. So like he wasn't. But this is the guy who made political speeches like during like award shows.
Yeah,
Dash. Just being gay is enough to get you flogged and stoned in Saudi Arabia. Don't add non-binary or a furry. He will be pushed off the building if you tell these people that.
I'm wondering what's going to happen to Sonic Fox.
I'm excited to see what's going to happen to Sonic Fox. Because I think in some cases, in my opinion, he single-handedly ruined the fighting game culture by making it a lot more progressive, which is akin to having cancer, at least for me as a former fighting game enthusiast.
Yeah, I know Mortal Kombat fucking sucks since all this progressive bullshit like happened.
Yeah.
Dash, just between us, there's nothing worse than progressive Mortal Kombat content creators who happen to be hollow men. Wink, wink, nod, nod. But I do find this situation very interesting, Dash. Looking at this buyout, we're going to see more of this happening in the future. You're going to see more and more corporate buyouts. I didn't tell Mark any of the topics because I didn't know when he would turn up. So he may be like a deer in the headlights, but that's fine. We'll get everyone's perspective first, then our special guests. But I find this so interesting that you're going to see such a culture clash to the point where EVO will be a shadow of its former self, and it might just be a good thing. Because the Saudis do value talent. They do.
Yeah, so some of my fans are actually very excited about this, especially since a very well-known Saudi prince has actually owned the SNK game studio that makes Samurai Showdown and I think Fatal Fury.
Fatal Fury, City of the Wolves, King of Fighters, Samurai Showdown, Art of Fighting. I'm an SNK enthusiast, so I kind of know all this.
Yeah, so and apparently they've kept their culture under his reign.
Absolutely. My Shernui's tits are still out. Just saying.
Well, that's because he values the best bits of Western society, and he wants to incorporate, once he becomes king, of course, he wants to incorporate them into his society. What he doesn't want to do...
You know this guy.
Yeah?
Well, yes, he's
Mohammed bin Salman.
Yeah, he's practically in charge because his father's a fossil. The king. He is. Look, if I was in my 70s or 80s and I had a 20, 30-year-old son, be like, son, just do all this for me. I want to retire, but I'm still keeping the position because tradition. This is a man who the crown prince, Mohammed bin Salman, who wants to take the best bits of the Western world and incorporate them in Saudi society. What he doesn't want is this brain rot nonsense that comes with the Western world, and he wants to keep the Saudi Arabian society under the House of Saud. That's where it gets its name, folks, royal family, and maintain the traditions of that country, of that culture, and of that people, even though that culture, even though that people turned out to cause 9/11. And I'm just going to say it. They did.
That was open. The government, that's like people know
Osama bin Laden was Saudi Arabian. Just want to let you guys know.
That's a week from now's the anniversary.
Yeah.
Oh, damn. We need to do a 9/11 show. Where were you during 9/11? Yeah, there we go.
My third grade classroom.
Oh, damn.
Working at Toys R Us.
Oh, damn. A baby. Galaxy Red.
I was doing a paper round.
Oh, damn. Galaxy Red, save us. Save us. Tell us about this topic. What do you make of it? Please.
I'm not really big into EVO much, so I don't really know what to say. So,
Christ, I asked for a life. I asked someone to help us to swim to shore, and he can't swim. Rhoda, Rhoda, please save us.
Save us, yeah, okay.
Yeah. What do you think?
I mean, I've never been particularly into fighting games, so I don't really know much about it either. But again,
I'm drowning here. Me and Dash are drowning together, and
yeah, I'm not big into the. Some of my fans are if only Michael were here. He's not though.
Look, somebody's got to save this topic, and luckily for you guys, I've been playing fighting games since I was in diapers. I grew up in New York City. There was a Street Fighter II machine on every corner of the city. Many of them bootleg, but that's besides the point. I got in a fist fight with a friend because he cheesed me in Street Fighter 2 once. He hit me in the head with a brick. So you see there's a recurring pattern here, people hitting me with bricks, during that fist fight. But yeah, we got to fight outside the pizzeria over there. But I will say this, look, Mohammed bin Salman, I have to give him props because of the fact that he did pick up SNK. He didn't change anything. He didn't cover up the women or anything like that. He said, and he went on record as saying this, there was a lot of articles at the time, that he wanted SNK to shine as bright as it did in the 90s during its heyday when you had Samurai Showdown 2, when you had King of Fighters 94, Fatal Fury Special, all of these great fighting games. And so in some ways, SNK has been a bit of the saving grace that hasn't swallowed the load of DEI that Capcom has. Capcom has started the course correct a little bit with Street Fighter 6, but at the beginning of Street Fighter 6, you had everything from fruit booty announcers to, a lot of weird non-binary nonsense. Here's the thing about it. I don't think he's going to change EVO to the point where it's like he's going to throw Sonic Fox off a building or something like that. That's a little bit, fear-mongering. But I think what's going to happen is we're going to go back to the culture of, you know what? If you're this way or that way, you don't need to remind us every 5 minutes. You don't need to wear a giant flag or a giant pin or write down your pronouns, which I've already heard the pronoun sort of selection at EVO has been removed because they don't believe in that. I think it's a matter of leave your politics at the door. You come in, you play your fighting games, win or lose, and then you F off, And I think that that's better because I do think that in some ways, people like Sonic Fox. Look, I don't have a problem. Sonic Fox can have whatever politics he wants to have. But the fact that he brought it onto the platform, all right, and brought his TDS to the platform hasn't inherently hurt fighting games. I've been in fighting game groups that now, if you're not towing the progressive line, remove you from those groups on like social media and whatnot. And of course, for me, look, fighting game was always a trash talk, shit talk, sort of very testosterone driven kind of thing. I think EVO's going to go back to that. I mean, I don't think we're going to see people beat each other up or anything over a fighting game like when I was growing up in the 90s. But I do think that on the bright side of looking at this, I think that we're going to get away from a little bit of the overly obsessed politics. If you want to see what I'm talking about, just say that Bridget is a man in Guilty Gear on social media and watch how many people on the left will dogpile you out of nowhere. Like you haven't
out of nowhere.
Yes.
Out of freaking nowhere.
Over saying that, because Bridget is basically a character who they've retconned into a trans character. It's a cross-dressing male who his backstory, I think, is that in his society, if you have more than one son, you have to execute, the extra sons.
Yeah, his story was that, he was trained to be like a girl, but he wanted to discover his masculinity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like a ghost when one person is just pin up like that. But thank you for giving us context, Jose. We do
Yeah, a little bit.
appreciate that.
Yeah.
I found it surprising that Pokimane co-owned this.
Yeah, I didn't know that. That explains a lot of the problems with Evo to begin with, because I've never been a fan of Pokimane.
I've heard nothing but bad things about Pokimane.
I've said some disparaging comments on my Rumble channel I cannot repeat.
Oh my goodness. But Mark, now that you've heard everyone's riveting takes on this situation, what do you make of it?
So the last time I was really into fighting games was Street Fighter 2, and I would play it at the arcades, and it kind of mimicked Jace's story. I actually had a guy hit me over the head because I kept beating him at Street Fighter 2. And the thing about EVO is I don't care about fighting games now, but for the community that cares about fighting games, like Jace said, it needs to be about the games. It needs to be about having fun, playing these fighting games, a little bit of trash talk. That's normal. Guys do it. It's a normal thing that men do. If any women feel uncomfortable with that, it's probably not the place for them. Any men feel uncomfortable with the trash talk, probably not the place for them to go. That's just how the cookie crumbles. And so Saudi Arabia getting control. Now there are some issues with having all this control going overseas and going to countries where we're not quite sure what they're going to do with it. But there is leadership at Saudi Arabia, and it's been mentioned that it's clear they enjoy a lot of these Western entertainment venues. They enjoy a lot of Western entertainment. I think it was the Prince or somebody. I remember they were posting pics on X where you could see him out on a yacht with a bunch of white women in bikinis celebrating it. He's just living it up.
Oh, wow.
Like he's Andrew Tate.
Yeah.
And that's fine. But at the same time, they want to try to maintain this image that they're, a more traditional, Muslim country, and they want to accommodate their own people. And that's fine too. They have their own culture over there. But the main goal here is to keep EVO about fighting games and playing fighting games. And one thing that'll distract from that is the same thing that distracts us everywhere else in games. Like Jay said, it's all this political nonsense. It's all this gender nonsense. It's all this LGBTQIAP++ nonsense where people come in and it's clear their main interest isn't in playing fighting games or games at all. Their main interest is in pushing some sort of exterior outside of gaming agenda, like politics, some sort of like progressive ideology, and that stuff will,
We're gonna